Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Pallinghust Group platinum mine Sedibelo is now ready to implement a new technology that will send platinum processing costs hurtling down the cost curve. Martin Creamer joins me in studio to talk over the significance of this development. Hi Martin.
Hi Tracy.
What has the development over the past 18 years of this technology entailed, and how does it work?
Yeah, in 1981 it was still a twinkle in, well, at that stage the developer Keith Liddell was still with Mintech, and he was obviously getting a background in all this, but it was only when he got to Aquarius that he was confronted by the need to do something about bringing down costs, the concentration costs, the processing costs, and he started working on what is called the CAL technology. It takes the initials of his name. And his progress over time was quite slow until, eventually the Pallinghust Group, backed by the state-owned Industrial Development Corporation and shareholders, and Pallinghust Group has got a lot of interesting shareholders, they backed this. And because Pallinghust has always said from its inception, we want to be a 21st century miner. We want our workers sitting in cabs listening to good music. We don't want them sitting underground in a deep, dark, dangerous situation. So they've got open pit mines at this stage. They will go underground, but their mines are much shallower than everything else. And then when it came to processing, they also wanted to be 21st century, and they wanted to link on to beneficiation. Of course, that was prompted as well by their link to the Industrial Development Corporation that wants to see that. So finally, after 18 years of diligent work, you've got something that uses existing systems, but it configures them in such a way that it means that your electricity costs are far lower, mainly because when you smelt, you're using that heat, and it's great heat, like 1,200 degrees Celsius, a lot of energy going in there. But a lot of that energy is used to heat waste that you don't want. So if you dissolve out what you want first through a hydrometallurgical process, the heat you require is far less, because you're not having to heat up what they call this waste material called gang. So you don't have to do that. And so you can see the logic that you're heating much less, therefore you're expending much less energy. That was always emphasized at the time when Eskom was having problems, particularly 2008, and there was load shedding, and there were huge increases in the power tariff. Of course, today they start emphasizing many other aspects of this CAL process, which are very beneficial. In fact, it's a sort of a holistic coming down of the cost curve, and also creating a lot of opportunities, which means that your capital is not locked up for the same period of time, and you don't really have to rely on the refineries to the same extent. So much can be done on site. So many factors that make it preferential to what is being done in the platinum industry at the moment. And of course they say they can also go into base metals. They were speaking about activity that they've done in the United States, and also into gold with refractory gold. So it has a lot of potential.
And how specifically was the process, or the development of the process, accelerated in the last 5 years?
Yeah, that was incredible. We went to a media conference Pallinghust had jointly with the Industrial Development Corporation when some of their platinum assets were sort of no longer earmarked for public listing, but that there would be a lot of activity during the unlisted period to prepare it for relisting. Well, a lot has been going on in the background, due diligence and a lot of studies to make sure that when this whole platinum impasse passes, and I think you've got to be very patient with that, because the price is still very low and things are very tough in the platinum industry because the dollar price is so bad, and there doesn't seem to be any sort of effort to make sure that we come out of this impasse. These people are saying no, they're going ahead with this new technology, which will mean a lot to the industry. The word transforming the industry is coming up. The word game changer is coming up, and I think that they're also prepared to share this. they have got all the patents on it, but they could also work as a build, own and operator type situation if necessary, where they can do things on other people's site, just particularly when there are new developments coming through probably, and you don't need to use existing infrastructure, or you've got another opportunity to do something different. They could also involve themselves there, because they are relatively small as a producer at the moment, but with big technology ideas.
And what does the construction of the Sedibelo processing plant entail?
Yes, now it's about a tenth of the price of a normal smelter. So I remember they were costing a smelter in Zimbabwe a couple of years ago, and they said, well, it's going to cost like $2 billion. And if you had the comparable volume capacity, you would see that if you used Cal, it would only be about $200 million. What they're looking at Sedibelo is something in the region of about $100 million. I suppose if you had to do the smelting route there, it would be huge, 10 times that. And so they're looking to have a capacity of 300,000 ounces of platinum group metals, which is greater than what they are producing at the moment. So they could already have a possibility of bringing other people's material into that, if that's what people want to do, to try and work through the system in this new route. So they're thinking of, well, definitely this year the first sod will be turned, and then they're hoping, in their terms, to cut the ribbon in about 2 years' time after that.
And what are some of the other benefits that the coal process puts forward to the industry?
Yeah, there's a string of them, and if you look at it improves the mining situation, because you don't have to be so fastidious about the chrome content in the upper group 2, the UG2 reef, and also you don't have to worry about smelting that. We've had situations where smelters have blown up because the ingress of chrome within the UG2 smelting process has caused problems. Well, this doesn't mind chrome. It likes anything. You just put it in there, and so that is a big factor, because it takes away a lot of constraints, and maybe what they call the cutoff will be changed, so you can use lower grade ore to come through the process, which is very important. The other thing is that you can go straight into product. That you could develop a sort of a sponge, because it reaches a refined state. So you might on site, instead of having to take some of your material, some of the people send it out the country for processing and refining, and then bring it back in, all sorts of things like that. If they're building catalytic converters, you can prepare the metal for the catalytic converter. The factory can be right there. It can do it right away on site. So it's bringing the whole added value chain far closer to the mines. Most of the time when value is added to our metals and minerals, it takes place remotely somewhere. But this system enables you to bring it far closer, which will have major, supply chain benefits as it goes through the process. And they're convinced that this is going to work. They've been studying it carefully and getting statistics on it for the last 5 years intensely. They know it's doable. They know it's workable. They have just been, victims of the whole platinum industry that we've had. So it's been fairly slow in coming through. But this year, it will begin. Construction will begin, and we know that by about 2019, they say they will be producing. If you need a certain type of product for, say, a fuel cell, that can be ordered ahead of time, and you can have your product that you can put into your fuel cell coming from the mine site. It really revolutionizes everything we've been used to. So transformation is a word, and hopefully we'll see it when we go there in a couple of years' time. They've already given us the informal invitation, so we're at the ready to get there once things are happening on site at Sedibelo in Northwest Province, which is the platinum mine of the Pallinghust group, which is listed on the Johannesburg Stock Exchange, and the CEO is Arnie Franson, and the executive chairman is Brian Gilbertson, who's been a doyen in platinum. I mean, he really knows platinum, and he's also in this situation of where the industry is in, where you've got to be very patient, because it's mind-boggling that the price of platinum hasn't risen, because so many ounces have been taken over the system. But when you look at some of the comment that's going on the international television around, the use of platinum in diesel vehicles, and because Volkswagen cheated in the United States, it's having a massive impact. And although people say this is overstated, I mean, again, on TV this week, the mayor of London stamped his fist and said, we're not having these emissions anymore. And cars going through London who are emitting too much of nasties, and actually he said it's killing like 9,000 people per whatever. It's killing people. He's not going to tolerate it, and that these vehicles are going to be fined heavily if they keep emitting. So you see, it's not only the mayor of London, it's mayors right around the world. They're saying, we're going to clean up our city. They've had a big meeting recently. That is fantastic for platinum, but at the same time, there seems to be a negative attitude to diesel because of what happened with Volkswagen. So they're moving across to petrol-driven engines, which is putting a big demand on platinum. Of course, that's also a platinum group metal, and we can see that rising, and I'm sure, once it rises very high, people swing back to platinum again. We saw in the 80s, when platinum rose, the price of platinum was too high. Ford and a lot of other companies swung to the use of palladium. There could be a crossing over again, but it is a pity that that scandal broke in the United States, because it's lessened the demand for platinum for diesel, because automotive suppliers have been, instead of continuing with their diesel, they're worried about what they call NOx emissions. And those can be catered for with the platinum catalyzed autocats, but it's just a perception that no, you must swing away. And the automotive industry has swung away, which has it's created a bit of a strange situation within the platinum market, and hopefully that will end soon, and also that fuel cells will come in, which will create that demand again. But in the meantime, we see these improvements coming through, which will help in the long run, because the platinum's still in the ground there, and we will be able to get it out when it's ready. But it's not good having this low price, because it does create a lot of destabilization of the industry.
And what benefits or what prospects are there in terms of cobalt and the cull process?
Yeah, it's been an absolute shame that, with our smelting process, I mean, how dare we? Here we're dealing with a national patrimony, and we destroy cobalt. We just destroy it. We don't even acknowledge that it's there. Just burn it as part of the smelting process. Now, suddenly with the electric vehicle, the demand for cobalt is growing. It's getting stronger and stronger. This process, the cull process, will recover that cobalt, and that'll be another value addition to the overall equation, that you get cobalt out of this. And you can see that at current prices, that is significant. So you're not only getting, your platinum group metals, but in addition to that, you're also getting cobalt, which will be a wonderful value addition overall.
Thanks, Martin.
It's a great pleasure, Tracy.
That's it for today. Join us again next week for more news analysis on the South African mining industry.